Now, coming back to the very beginning of what I said, HSBC analyst, they are commenting on the current market sentiment, saying that if you want to add risk portfolios, if you want to add risk assets, now is the time to do that, which feels counterintuitive. Why? Because S&P 500 is only 5% below all-time high, but the market for the past 2 weeks have shaken off a lot of the leverage, and a lot of the sentiment have now gone to oversold type of territories. So you need to position your portfolio future proof. That means we know interest rate lower adjustment is coming.
Yes.
We know liquidity injection is coming. And with that incoming into the market, you need to position your portfolio not for December, but for January and February time.
Alrighty, everybody, what is going on? Welcome back to another CYPRX video banger. In today's video, I completely agree with what that lady, the lead of research at CoinMarketCap, was saying, that now is the time to start to position yourself for the future in the digital asset ecosystem, under the precipice that we are set to see a massive recovery at some point in time in the future, and that you should use these fear-based opportunities to dollar cost average into blue chip digital assets that are likely to perform well in the coming months ahead. Now, most people are looking at this crypto pullback and thinking something is wrong. I want you all to pause for just a second, because what you're about to hear in today's video breakdown has nothing to do with price and everything to do with how money itself is changing. The future of money isn't speculation, it's infrastructure. Payments are being rebuilt. Banks are integrating on-chain systems, and we are entering the early acceleration phase of a global shift. I'm going to play 3 short video clips in today's episode, and in between each one, I'll break down why this moment is not something to fear, but something to understand. So we're going to be listening to Paul Brody from EY. I've played this gentleman so many times in previous video breakdowns. He is extremely accurate with his analysis and has huge insider information, as he is the global blockchain leader at a major consulting firm. So take a second and listen to what this gentleman here has to say.
You are much too young to remember, but once upon a time, in a galaxy far, far away, we bought analog albums, right? Which you can still buy in like special shops that are hilarious. My son actually buys like analog albums. He's like, "Dad, do we have a record player?" I'm like, that was thrown out a long time ago. And then we bought whole CDs. And at a certain point, it got cheap enough and easy enough that we started buying and downloading, or stealing and downloading, individual tracks, right? And eventually we just gave up and we went to streaming. We don't even stream a whole song anymore. We stream like tiny bits of a song. And the argument I want to make is that this is what is going to happen to money, right? Once upon a time, we got paid every 2 weeks, and we got bills monthly, and we paid our mortgages or our rent monthly. I believe we're slowly going to go away from that. And what's driving that is this transition that blockchain is making affordable and possible. We are in the middle of a payments transition from things that cost dollars and took days, towards things that basically cost under a penny and take less than a second. And once making payments is essentially free, the idea that you would change how you run your business, especially at a global level, starts to become really appealing. This idea of like, why would I wait a whole month, or why would I keep big piles of money everywhere just in case, becomes unnecessary. And I think what we're headed towards, for example, at the enterprise level, is a completely different way of managing your treasury. So today we have global treasuries, but they don't keep a lot of money. Where you keep the money is in the individual operating countries. But if payments are free and instantaneous, you're going to have a big global treasury that's centralized and aggressively managed for yield. And then you're going to have little small bank accounts in other countries that just keep the minimum amount of money necessary, right? So if you pay your workers on Friday, then a Thursday night at 11:59 p.m., you're going to send the money for that, anything that's needed, right? But basically, the whole process is going to shift from big chunks of money to tiny amounts streaming over time. And the result of that is going to be kind of a just-in-time payments and financial system. And it's not just how companies are going to manage their treasuries. I believe it's also going to affect how basically enterprises and consumers interact with each other.
So What you just heard is not speculation. It's a roadmap from, again, a gentleman that is a global blockchain leader at a major consulting firm. Money is going through the same transition that music, as examples, already went through. That music, used as an example, already went through. From ownership to chunks to streaming, payments used to be slow and expensive. Well, they still are, collectively speaking. So money moved in big blocks. Blockchain, however, removes that friction. When payments become instant and nearly free, everything about how money flows has to change. And that is happening right now as we speak. This pullback does not mean that the system is breaking. It means that the system is being rebuilt. And that takes time. That is where most people get this whole entire crypto thing wrong. Crypto is not replacing banks overnight. It's being integrated into them.
And with their suppliers and business partners around the world. Over on the consumer side, what does this mean? So for consumers, we are getting very quickly to a point where banking on chain looks and feels pretty much indistinguishable from banking in the real world. Now, I want to say that banking on chain is still messy because of the horrible crypto UX, right? We love to complain in crypto about the user experience, but I took my actual 17-year-old son to a real bank branch to try to open a bank account for him, and it took us 2 hours of paperwork. So complaints about the crypto UX feel kind of quaint after you spend 2 hours showing your passport and birth certificate in an actual bank branch. But it's getting better on chain. We have a very similar process taking place for businesses where banking integration and crypto integration are starting to look the same. We have a very similar process taking place for businesses where banking integration and crypto integration are starting to look the same.
So, as you all heard Paul Brody mention, on-chain banking is starting to look just like traditional banking, but faster, cheaper, and global regulation is for a fact coming in. Infrastructure is being built, and businesses are already adapting. This is not a rebellion anymore. People thinking that crypto is just for the crypto bros and so on and so forth. No, it's for businesses, banks, large institutions, and everyday consumers. This is adoption, and this is going to happen at scale. The market is pulling back while the foundation is getting stronger, and that's something that everybody heading into 2026 needs to understand. The last video clip that I want to play for you guys is how Paul Brody reiterates that we are at the beginning of this acceleration phase.
Payroll. So my prediction is that although this sounds crazy, we are headed into a world of basically streaming these transactions pretty much in near real time. What's been missing is all of the integration and the infrastructure required to do this. And now that we have both the regulatory compliance and the technology available to do it, we're starting to sort of accelerate towards that path. And that is kind of my expectation, right? We are at the beginning of this acceleration phase.
Now, I'll pause it right there, but here you can see on his slideshow, it says, start planning now. The future is going to come faster and harder than you expect. This is the most important part because he said it plainly. We're at the beginning of the acceleration phase where music didn't flip to streaming overnight and money won't either. But once the infrastructure and regulations line up, which we're about to have for the first time ever in the 17 years of crypto's history, the change is going to happen fast. That's why volatility shows up before clarity. Fear shows up before understanding. This phase is not the end. It is the early innings of a massive transition and how the world moves value. So lock in, stay prepared, stay vigilant, follow platforms like the ones that we've built here for you guys at CYPRX that provide real research, real value, no hopium, no hype, and keep you guys locked in and focused via the long-term trajectory of the digital asset ecosystem. Hopefully you guys enjoyed today's video breakdown. Mind you, this video clip that I played for you guys today is from the Stable Summit that took place just a few days ago. This is again Paul Brody, the global blockchain leader at EY. As always, many blessings to you guys, bringing you all some of the realest research in the game. Don't forget, over in the CYPRX research Discord, we have the largest cache of documents, panel discussions, fundamental updates that go relatively unnoticed that the mainstream does not cover, all inside the private CYPRX Discord. You literally don't need to go or search anywhere else. You have the realest information in the game, hands down, shared in this Discord on a daily updated basis, literally thousands of panel discussions that you've never seen from projects that are doing amazing things in this space. Lock in 2026. Come join us in the private CYPRX Discord. With that being said, be cognizant, be aware out there, smash that thumbs up button and subscribe, and I'll see you guys in the next video breakdown.